Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wassalatu wassalam ala sharafil anbiya'i wal mursaleen wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma infa'ni bima 'allamtani wa 'allimni ma yanfa'uni wa zidni ilman. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In today's so-called advanced world, science has become the de facto standard to verify anything, or to get the authenticity. We always verify it against the science. But at the same time, we fail to realize that science, ultimately, what is science? Who is science? Science are these people who are scientists, who conclude this experiment, who do certain things. So ultimately the bottom line is these are human beings who do this. So as soon as this word human comes into picture, we should realize that there is a limit to it, because human beings, whatever faculties they have, whatever power or attributes they have, everything has got a limit. That's the first thing. Second thing is humans are prone to mistake. So we should always keep this in mind, no matter what we are dealing with. Even if we are dealing with science, science is ultimately boiling down to human beings. Scientific community thinks that for anything to exist, it should be verifiable with one of our senses. As we all know, we have 5 senses, right? So science says that if you say something exists, it should be verified by those senses. So you should be either able to see it, or you should be able to hear it, or you should be able to smell it, or you should be able to touch it, or you should be able to taste it, right? If you are not, then as per science, maybe that thing doesn't exist. So there was a college gate at which some students were celebrating their trophy. So the professor passed by and he asked, "Hey, what's up? What is this?" So they said that we just won this trophy and we are happy about it. They said, "Wow." So professor says, "Good job." They said, "Yeah, we put a lot of efforts and with God blessing, we won this trophy." So as soon as they say with God blessing, the prophet was like, "What? Who's God?" They said, "Our God." So he said, "Where is your God?" And they said, "It's up in the heavens." So the professor said, "Do you see him?" They said, "No." He said, "Have you ever touched him?" The students were perplexed. They said, "No." "Well, then your God doesn't exist." The students were taken aback. "Our God doesn't exist?" So one of the students asked to the professor, "Professor, how can you be so sure that there is no God? God does not exist." He said, "I am a professor. I use common sense." So the student asked, "And where is your common sense?" He said, "Up here." So the student asked, "Have you ever seen the common sense?" He said, "No." "Can you touch it?" And he said, "No." So the student said, "Then you don't have common sense." You see that, where it goes? So this is how it boils down to. I'm a student of science and I believe most of the things, as long as they don't clash with the basic beliefs that we possess. But that does not mean we should follow it blindly. There have been many instances where scientists have gone back on their statement, or have been proven false, or science has taken a U-turn. For example, look at this Simon Newcomb. He was an astronomer. In 1888, he said that we have reached the limit of astronomy knowledge. So no more new knowledge. This is the dead end of astronomy. He said this in 1888, and after that we have discovered a new planet, Pluto. We have discovered new galaxies. We have went on to the moon, and we have established an International Space Center. When he said that in 1888, this another guy named W.C. Hooper, he is from the National Cancer Institute. He said that the theory that smoking causes lung cancer, this is just a minor thing. You don't need to take it seriously. It's not something that you need to be concerned about. While we know that 80% of the women and 90% of the men who have lung cancer, this is because of the smoking. From 2005 to 2010, more than 130,000 people have died in United States alone because of this lung cancer. Lord Kelvin, the president of the Royal Society in 1883, he said that when the X-ray was discovered, he said that this whole thing called X-ray, this is hoax. This is nothing. It's nothing. And within 10 years, he himself underwent a X-ray to figure out the problem in his hand. So this is the statement of the Lord Kelvin, who was president of the Royal Society. Then there is William Stewart, who was the Surgeon General of United States. And in 1969, he said that we can close the books on the infectious disease. Why? Because now the infectious disease have been taken care of. We have these good vaccinations, and our technology has developed so much that we will not be encountering any more infectious disease. And here we are in 2020 with one of the biggest pandemic that we are facing. This is what they said. Darwin, yeah, the father of evolution, the evolution theory, he didn't know anything about genetics, which is the basics of natural selection, if you say that, but he didn't know anything about genetics. So these are the things that have happened in the scientific field just recently. Not only this, there have been scientists who have cheated their community. Like this Harvard researcher John Darcy in 1981, it was found out that he was working on the data related to heart, and most of the time he was faking the data. The National Institute of Health figured out that whatever 100 publications he has published, they were all fabricated. There was the other guy who was cardiac radiology, Robert Slutsky. It was found out that he used to submit a research paper every 10 days. The community was astonished that how could he submit a research paper every 10 days. Then they realized that he was also playing with the data, lying about the methods he used. He used to alter the data and all kinds. So these things also happen in scientific community. Take the classic example of Newton, Isaac Newton, Sir Isaac Newton. He was the first one to lay down the principles of laws of gravity. Right? He even wrote the book Mathematical Principle of Natural Philosophy. And in the 1600s, 17th century, he enumerated all those laws regarding gravity. His laws were obeyed and followed for almost 3 centuries. No one challenged him until Albert Einstein came into picture. So for 300 years, Newton's law were used and followed. And then Einstein comes and he proves that there is a flaw in this. So he presents his own theory called theory of relativity, which fixes the issues in the Newton's laws, right? And now his theory is being used. Now it's almost 100 years he proposed this theory of relativity. After 100 years, even though they are still using it, and it's so far it is true, but there is a team of scientists in the University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA, where they are about to claim that, okay, so far it is good, but when they are testing this theory of relativity of Albert Einstein with the black holes, there it seems to be vulnerable. It seems that this might not work there. So this is yet to be properly tested, but they think that the theory of relativity is good as far as on the boundaries of the black hole, but once you go inside the black hole, this theory might also fail. Right? So even a person like Einstein, yes, he also said once that this nuclear reactor thing you won't be able to establish, because getting the nuclear energy means breaking the atom at your own will, which is not possible. Within 10 years of his claim, the first nuclear reactor was built. So even a person like Einstein, he can also make a mistake. Even his other statement where the thermodynamics law says that energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. I don't fully agree with this. I think this statement needs a little bit of modification, even though the modification is minor, but the impact is very major. Instead of saying that neither the energy can be created nor destroyed, it should be said that energy cannot be created nor destroyed by the creation. That would be more appropriate than just saying that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. See, science thinks everything or consider everything as energy. For science, everything is energy, even including the human body. So when somebody dies, uh, he just decomposes and the energy is released into the universe. So in a way, what science is telling is that that person, even though he has died, is still around you, just in a scattered position.